Yo, what's up, guys? Little raw day trading here. Let's do some video review. Today I am sitting up just barely over break even, coming in at $100 or so. And the action's kind of sporadic and dried out. I tend to chop myself around in this action, usually lose money, so I'm not really trading it this late into the day. Not seeing stuff that I really want to take some risk on. Penny stocks, I don't want to do. The DJT, definitely don't want to do. Plus it's kind of coming down. The only thing I really am kind of still keeping an eye on, but looks like it's done, is ASPI because it was an all-time high as far as I can tell. They looked on FinViz, I looked on Thinkorswim. They both charts showed that it was all-time high here. Now it's pulling down right here, as you can see, ASPI. That was the stock that I traded mainly today. I had, I don't know, a good amount of trades on it. But let's get into some video, see if we can find any insights. I got a couple points I want to review from the video. And we'll check the open, check how I was trading, and see the swings in the P&L. At one point, I was up about 400, and then I went negative down 200. I was super happy about trading what I thought was the main action. Although this THAR did make the only move from the gappers into positive for the day after the open. But I thought ASPI was going to be the one. Actually, I take that back. Maybe ASPI made a positive move. But so we're here at the open. I have a great little trade. What I was looking at is THAR kind of had already made its move a little bit before the bell. And then ASPI had been just selling, getting pounded. And I was looking for that relief bounce out of the open. It was opening low. And boom, I get in there. I get filled kind of high, but I get a little bit of reassurance as it goes higher. I'm here holding my horses, trying not to cut it because I know it's going to take a little bit of a second to get through this consolidation zone. It starts to open up here. In my head, I'm thinking 9. 9 is the target I have in mind, and I'm pretty sure I hold till there. It's going, it's creeping. Boom. Big little seller still holding, and I get it out at 9.05. That was I like that trade. I could have done half out there, but aside from that, I think super happy with that. Then you have this kind of very strong candle formed here, and for all intents and purposes, just looking at the chart, I'm thinking that it's strong. But as we come back, I'm looking here. There's a big buyer. Let's see what happens to that big buyer. I usually don't like seeing those buyers that are just sitting on the bid. I kind of want to see that volume just going through on the tape. But in this case, it was not going through on the tape. So I'm looking right here at level 2 and this 275 share buyer there. And it kind of holds there for a second. So I take a position. I'm like, let's see it. It's hesitating. Not a good sign. Take a small L there. Then it goes down below. Jump back in. I'm like, okay, let's get it back above. But the problem jumping in here, one, I probably cut too early if I was actually doing a bounce there. But two, because it blew through that seller, and I don't even know if it got filled, to be honest. Let's see. I think the seller just disappears, or the buyer just disappears. Yeah, okay, so it's coming down. Not really any resistance there. Not really. The buyer wasn't sold into. It just wasn't there. So now it's back above 9. I take another little L down to 200 only after being up around almost 3. Keeps going lower. And this is a tricky situation. It's now retraced most of the candle. It's like over 50% of the retracement. The momentum is now clearly to the downside in this 1 minute candle. I think ideally you would have the time to like wait and make a good decision, but I think the best move here is to wait and to hold off, and I think that's what I do. Although everything's moving very fast. And so there I go again. I take another position. I get filled actually at a really good price, and then that buyer shows up again, or at least a similar quantity to the buyer that I saw up around $9. They're getting sneaky and making their order lower. Actually, really not a good sign for the stock, to be fair. It's showing that people aren't willing to jump in, but it does prop the stock for a second. I'm getting sketched as it is now retraced a lot. And the bid's kind of popping up there, kind of not. I'm really waiting for 75. It's what I really want, but then that's just like, oof, ow. And I take a decent 30-cent loss on there and jump back in at 24 actually. So now I'm down $110. That was very fast, which is okay. You know, this I probably could have played a little bit better. Since it was doing this action where it went lower, drilled through the bottom, went lower, drilled through the bottom, and just kept doing that, I probably should have waited until it was egregious, maybe down below 8, which I think I do. That's when I do actually get a good trade off on it. It's actually a decent trade right here. Do I take it out? Boom. Okay, cool. So now I'm back to green, actually back to up 100. But down from 300 to this, no buenos, eh? Could have done a little bit better conserving capital. In my mind, though, I was thinking all-time highs. Again, I wanted to see the pre-market tested. I wanted to see this curl up. I wanted to see it flip, go up to 9, and kind of just open up. But it wasn't in the cards for this open. Maybe a later date move, which I am still watching. ASPI, yep. I got an alarm set. We'll see if anything happens on it. So this all happens. I make a little bit of money back there. I think that's going to be the one. So now I'm sitting at around 200. You know, it's not looking good on the stock. I kind of just like keep taking smaller wins. And then it does this open up move here, retests the open, goes above VWAP, goes up to here to 880. And it was kind of one of those like surprise moves where it's like this candle, you're just like, okay, you know, give it a sec, but it just keeps going up. And this happens often at the open and when stocks actually do decide to run. It's like stuff you expect to happen just doesn't happen. And you're like, okay, so now this is actually going to go. There's something going on here. And now it's attacking resistance levels, but just kind of sliding right through them. And nobody's selling into it, or the computers aren't selling into it. And where do you get in on it when it's doing this? Well, hopefully not at 890. So I do my best to be patient here. I see what I think is an opportunity. I get in, take a L. It goes lower. I get back in, and I'm like, okay, cool. Get in a good spot now. And I'm kind of holding on here. I had an opportunity to get out with maybe 15-cent profit, but right now it's looking like I probably should have taken it. But still holding. I'm above break even, and I'm like, if this thing opens, could look really good. So that was a break even interchange. Then I'm like, okay, let's get this breakout. Really want the breakout, but I'm thinking maybe it tests 47, which is VWAP at the moment. Looking. Ooh, I buy early. Not the best move, but I'm holding. It seems to be supported. Seems like there's an obvious seller on the ask, and I get bailed out there. Seller gets sucked up into the action. I'm pretty sure market makers love those obvious orders because they know they can just scoop people into the action, take the price the opposite way, yada yada. Might be the basis of another strategy, but yeah. And then I get back in at 50. So now I'm getting in the rhythm, starting to put orders on the ask too. And then this was, I think, going to be my high point, where I'm at 400 on the day. I unload, and then I'm like, cool. It looks like it's bouncing off all these support levels, and we got to see here because I'm pretty sure I make a mistake and start trading it on the backside when it doesn't do what I expect it to do. But this to me right now, it's looking like, hey, it's got potential. It did have like a little stall out candle where, people are buying. There's high volume. But, I really want to see more volume come into the name. Right now, it's only at like 250,000, 500,000, probably about an average of 500,000 per 1 minute candle of shares traded. And that's pretty low given that it's a gapper, given that it's all time high. And that's kind of a clue that people aren't interested in it. If you look over at THAR on this one, you'll see it's like about candles are popping up over 1 million shares of volume. This one did just this wild pop up. We'll review that in a second. But what I think is notable is that it is a good setup, anticipatory setup. And I think everything about this was a solid, in theory, play. Aside from the chart actually, if I'm looking back on it, it has this pretty defined channel here that it breaks, tests high, and then now looks like it's going to fail. So that I don't think is the best thing about it, but the story of the stock where it just opens way higher. I'm actually going to look at the daily chart because I actually think yesterday it was a day where it was creeping up higher. Yeah. So yesterday, I'll just bring this over in here into the screen. Yesterday, this is what happened. It kind of creeped up in, made all-time highs, creeped up above previous all-time highs, opens way lower, and now is doing this kind of retracement. It's like a gap fade. It gaps high and then fades all day. I'm not sure how much volume or how many shares they have. That actually might be why I did not consider it. The float is 41 million shares of volume, 41 million shares of float, and those tend to be less easy to predict and tend to act more towards the large cap side. It's a mid cap. It's not really a small cap, micro cap where you can read all the information on the level 2. It's kind of notable too. You can read that the information is that the signals that you expect from a small cap aren't working. And then that's why I was able to make some money. But the longer term trades that I was then holding for was not rewarded. The longer term trades that I kept trying for, I just kept spending money on trying to get it to work. And that's just okay. That's part of trading. Those require a lot of volume to move the stock. The 41 million shares, though, it would have required probably more like 1 to 2 million shares of volume. And that actually explains why it had this kind of drifting action, but kind of tight spreads for the amount, the price level that it was. So it was like this drifting action where it would drift through levels that you thought it would stop at. Maybe in a small cap, they would stop there. So that was on me. I got to write that down. No. Pay attention to float. Okay. Got the high point there. Let's see where I take it off. So this is a mistake here somewhere, and we got to find it. So I'm sitting here queued up, ready to go. It's looking like it's signaling that it might go, but it's taking too long. So I'm like, okay, let's see this dip. I do good in the patience here. I'm like, well, it's dipping to the low of the range. Let's see if it wants to jerk people around. Keeps going lower, though. Trying to be patient here. Trying to be copacetic. And then I take a position there, which was actually really good patience. The only problem is it kind of made the move down like in too controlled of a fashion, where it was just moving through level, moving through level, moving through level. No kind of panic, no explosion. It was kind of just like people are taking positions. They're not kind of rushing their entries or exits, and that doesn't bear well for obvious entries for whatever reason. And I'm green for a second here, but then it's like the lows are getting tested, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to step out. So I step out of it, take a 3-cent loss, it's fine. Down below 4, and then I get another good fill. Like, in these kind of dips, they get addicting because, like, you get a good fill, you're green for a second, and you're like, all right, I'm going to hold it, but then watch what happens. Pops up higher, you're thinking like, okay, look, 35, but then all of a sudden you're down 8 cents, and you're like, well, just made a new low there, but should I hold it? Should I hold it? Is that the right thing to do? Should I hold it? Answer's no, but it seems like it's yes, because you're like, it looks like the bottom, and then it's like you get sort of rewarded. I'm pretty sure I do the stupid move and put an order on the ask there and really just encourage the stock to go lower. So I actually step in front of the action myself, and that's not nice. Where do I put that? It's hard because when you're green, you want to grasp and get to at least back to break even if the trade isn't working out once you go red. So that was another mistake I made. Got to write it down. And that cost me, let's see how much it cost me. $0.10. Actually, no, wait. 13 cents. Cost me 13 cents with the 1,000 shares. $130. No fun, but whatever. And now at this point, I'm like, but no, I was able to do it. I still have 250, so I'm still looking to trade it. I'm like, I can do it back. It starts to look like it's consolidating. I'm getting more and more cautious on my entries, I think. No, I'm not. But I am trying for the push higher. And I'm kind of right here. It's kind of a good setup, Take a small win there. It's fine. And then I just give it back, and then I'm chasing again, and then I start trading something else. QNCX, and now it's like when my attention got split between the two, that's when I think I went red. Because yeah, now I jump back in, and now it's clearly the highs. Now I'm down 200, and we'll watch this one. This actually, I'm not mad about this. It's not the best trade. I mean, it's kind of tried one time to fail, two times to fail, three times to fail, four times to fail, and then when it actually fails, you're kind of like, oh, well, it should halt down. It doesn't actually halt down, but it pauses, and I think I take when it pauses, and now I'm waiting. At this point, I'm down to flat. I'm like, I was up 400, probably could get up maybe 100 on it. It's creeping lower still. I take that under 75. Not mad at that position. Not the best. I really was just looking at the numbers and not watching how it traded, which is, yeah, I probably should note. Also watch how it trades, not just numbers and levels. Okay, got to remind yourself of stuff. So here at this point, I took a decent loss there, down 200. Took another loss, but I'm like, this is a big sell-off. I don't know if I believe that it's going to stay this low for a long time, but at the same time, I've already used up my luck per se. And I was green, and now I'm red, the same amount that was half of the green. And so I'm just like, trying for big days, but this is just probably not the way to do it. It's going the wrong direction. Probably should be on a different stock, whatever. I'm pretty sure I back off at this point. I get onto QNCX. It was really deceptive price action, and then I catch on to the deception, and I'm able to make a couple bucks on it. Yeah, but like not that much. I think I only make maybe like 60 bucks or so. Although I like that price range, it was just not. I didn't do well when I was supposed to do well, and I missed the kind of extension into 79. But there's one trade I'm pretty sure I make on it where it gets down to here. I'm like, wow, this is just a ridiculous sell-off. And it was playing so softball with the way it was moving that I was willing to take the risk. Probably not the best reason to take a trade, but I make a couple bucks back. It's nothing spectacular, maybe 100. Nope, 70, and I think that was the last trade I have on it. PHUN, I was looking at it, no trades. ASPI, I take a couple more trades. It gets me back to break even on the stock. Does the consolidation. I actually do well during, like, let's look at where I do well. So I don't do well on the extension. I actually lose money on the way down. Lose more money immediately after. But this kind of like consolidation area, where do I have it? Do I lose more money? I'm trying to find. Yep, I lose more money. Where do I lose? Oh, okay. So this trade was a tricky one. It was technically, I would say, a bad trade because the setup was bad. We have a peak higher here. This is a clear kind of like level right here when it kind of tested this line. We have a peak above it and a rejection. And then as it's holding there, it's not immediately dying. And I'm like, ooh, maybe we can get like a little fake out. The candle did make a new local high here. And although it's a peak and reversal, which generally tend to not work out in the favor of the direction where it peaks, I was like, I'm going to try it. The biggest regret I have is just not keeping a tighter risk on it. The setup was not good. but I had a chance to get out. It was hesitating right here. It wasn't kind of creeping through 75. There was some seller there, or market makers were keeping it there, whatever. And then I got reversed, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna wait for it to pop to flat to get out. And this is where I made a big mistake. It starts unwinding, and then I get out on the unwind down, spending too much money, still in there, and wow, did I wait too long. And so I had made back money, and then I just gave it back right there. So that mistake, that was not a good mistake. Not a good mistake at all. But I was like, that was a big unwind. I'm sure there's going to be a reprisal from that. And so it keeps creeping lower, and then it like kind of does this like flippy thing, and I'm like, freaking annoying, eh? So let's see where, because I do make it back. I actually get to flat on the stock, and through this move up is where I do it. It actually wasn't supposed to get back above that level, that 70 level that I was initially bought in and got blown out of. And so I'm like, oh, now it means game that it's up here again, and I'm willing to take a little bit more risk in a sketchier position, um, or willing to take a sketchier position because now it's testing in a way that, if you were short down there, you expected it just to fail, but it's not failing. And if you were long and you got shaken out, you're just like, well, it shouldn't be back up here at this point, and you're probably getting back in. And then it kind of keeps pushing, and I'm able to get out flat on it. And that's where I leave the stock. It gets up to VWAP. And that's pretty much the day. That's all the stuff that I saw that was important. Although I was waiting on this ASPI to really, really go, and I'm kind of disappointed that it didn't. It's a good short, good for the shorts. They get their gap fade, but that's all. Right now, there's this MAXN moving. How much do I want to risk on? Why is this doing this? Don't do this for me right now. There we go. How much do I want to risk on a $10 name late in the day when I was already tricky, when I was already down, when I was already like up a good amount and get back? Not a whole bunch. Not feeling like it's a super good place to be. Just strategically, lunch hour did just end though. Not that that means a whole bunch, but you know. Let me go ASPI, put you in a corner because I wanted to like you. I wanted to like you a lot. And then BSTE, put you here. BSTE, I feel like I would just be in with smaller size relative to the price range, and I can control it better. Probably would be more interested in taking a trade here than on here. Yeah, I feel like I know the levels and the way it moves a little bit better to where I can see when it's working and when it's not. Where it's like I still am not super experienced on these higher price names. Freaking BV. Yeah. Good flow, by the way. Good volume. I don't want to see it fail here, though. I don't want to see it go right now. I want to see it consolidate for a little bit longer because if it goes, I bet you it just tops at either VWAP, tops at, or get touches. There's like some sort of trend line here somewhere. It's at the trend line, basically. Sloppy trend line that I drew. But yeah, If it consolidates here, I don't know. I feel like the right action for it to do is to hold up here, peak above, and then flip to 180 instead of going. I feel like that's more intuitive logic. Maybe that's why people aren't jumping in, but I don't want it to go right now. I just don't think it should. Either that or just hold or do a slow creep higher. But if it does a fast creep higher, I bet you it gets shorted. The volume is really low on this right now. It's almost like waiting for me. It's like, how much do you want it? So I'm not going to trade at the moment. I'm actually going to end this and probably go have a snack. So peace out, guys. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.